kingdom.
Live.
What's that? Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it.
It's my home's house. And it is good. Woo! Arrowhead man. The Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection. You gotta fight for your right to party.
Let's go.
Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us. While you're here, real quick, make sure to click or tap that like, click or tap that subscribe. Tell some friends, tell some family members, tell some Chiefs fans. Help spread the word. We'd appreciate it. Got a fun show lined up for everybody tonight. We got a big win, AFC wild card matchup against the Miami Dolphins that we're going to break down, and then we're going to look ahead to the divisional round matchup, round 3 of Chiefs Bills, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen in the postseason, shaping up to be a good one in Buffalo. So we'll break that game down. Before we get into it, fellas, are we thawed out from the game yet, Bo?
Finally feeling warm for once. We had a nice balmy 30-degree day here in Kansas City, and let me tell you, after minus 30, that's noticeably different. It is when it's 60 degrees warmer than the day it was before, you feel it. And I've never appreciated a 30-degree day in my life until today. And yeah, let's keep those coming. No, doing good. We all went to the game, had a blast, froze our butts off, but came out with a victory. It was super awesome. Super good to see you guys this week. Super good to see everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate you guys. Nick, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm warm, so that's good. Yeah, no, thawed out from the game. I didn't really feel that cold when I got home, and then I got like the 75 layers of clothes off that I had, and then I was like, all right, I should probably take a shower. And then I realized, no, I was still pretty cold. So that shower after being out in that 10 below with a 30 below wind chill felt pretty darn good. But no, I'm good, man. Just been getting amped up for this Bills game coming up, and checking on some stuff from the Dolphins game. So it's been good, a good week so far.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys are doing good. We survived. We were not one of the 5 people treated for frostbite or 13 people treated for hypothermia at the game on Saturday night. So
we went prepared.
That was good. We went prepared. I was layered up. We got to the game a little bit late, and so we were rushing to get into the stadium and get to our seats before kickoff. So I'm not going to say I was jogging or running in, but it was a brisk walk, and the 4 layers of pants and 5 layers of shirts and winter coat, 2 stocking caps and face mask I had on. I was sitting there at the start of the game. I was like sweating underneath all that stuff, and I was hot. I was like, this is not how I anticipated feeling at this game, but did not take
Les
long.
Stroud from Survivor Man says that's how you die.
Right. But hey, fun game. I feel like you should get like a commemorative pin or something if you went to that game. The coldest game in Arrowhead history, and just props to Chiefs Kingdom for showing up. There was a lot of talk about how empty would it be with the cold and the temperatures, and people were saying tickets are going for super cheap online, and a lot of people aren't going to go. There was a few empty seats you could kind of see in the upper decks, but for the most part, that sucker was full for the conditions. So just a tip of the cap to Chiefs Kingdom for showing up at the game. Kindred spirits, everybody who attended that game. What a game it was, too. We'll just get right into it. Not much Chiefs news, I mean, other than the game coming up here in Buffalo, which we're going to get to after we talk about this 26-7 beatdown, smackdown, slaughter. I don't know what adjective you want to use to describe the win over the Miami Dolphins at Arrowhead on Saturday night. It was just a thorough team win. I mean, all phases of the game, right? Overall thoughts before we kind of break down player performances, individual plays, moments from the game. Nick, just overall thoughts about the game on Saturday night.
Yeah, the Chiefs beat their ass. That's my overall thought in that game. I mean, you see the stuff that's come out afterwards of, L'Jarius Sneed just sticking Tyreek Hill at the line of scrimmage, not letting him get downfield. I mean, you see the sacks that they had, right? I mean, Karlaftis just destroyed Tua on that one sack. It was just a thorough beatdown of the other team. I feel kind of bad for the Dolphins fans that came there. That that not only were they in a opposing team stadium, but they were there for the frigid temperatures just like we were, and they walked away with their team really only having one good play. Kudos to Tyreek Hill on that. That's a play that only Tyreek Hill caught, probably turned into a touchdown. I mean, it was a bad throw that he caught and then scored. So kudos to him on that. But yeah, it was just a beatdown, man. Just beat their ass.
Oh,
yeah, man. My overall thoughts were just like, this was a preview of what we're gonna see, man. This is the team we wanted to see all season, and if it wasn't minus 27 degrees with winds blowing just like they were, we would have saw a higher score for sure. We saw Rashee Rice get a touchdown taken away, and we would have just saw a offense that was just clicking. And like I was gonna say, my overall takeaway was gonna be that they were just dominant. They controlled the clock so well. I mean, it was like, where's our defense? I was sitting there. I mean, it was so cold. It was kind of hard to pay attention to the game because like your mind is just focusing on how cold it is. I felt so bad for those guys out there wearing, 2 layers at most and then sleeveless. And I mean, those guys were hurting out there. Kudos to all those on both sides for playing, getting out there and playing in that weather, because that was next level cold. Like my mind could only focus on it. I'm just sitting there layered up like Scott was, even more. But no, just going back to how dominant the offense was, that was what we've been waiting for all season. It shut up all the naysayers a little. I mean, not a little bit, a lot of it. A lot of people are still kind of not impressed with a 19-point victory the way like we probably are. But again, I'm going to blame that to the temperatures, that it would have been way more if it was a regular temperature game.
Yeah, to me, the game reminded me of when you see like Alabama play one of these Southeast Arkansas State colleges, right, in football, and it's just, you could tell one team was on a completely different level, and just dominated all 3 phases of the game. Special teams, the offense and defense, they couldn't be stopped. Yeah, you're right. I mean, outside of the one big play to Tyreek Hill, they had a couple of, easily forgotten 4th down conversions there in the 4th quarter when the game was over and out of reach. But yeah, just a thorough top to bottom beatdown of the Miami Dolphins. Let's just talk a little bit. Break down talk about the offense. We talked about, could the Chiefs flip the switch, right? We talked about it last week. Rich Eisen had talked about it on his show. A few other people around NFL media.
Right.
They've talked about where the Chiefs laying back, taking it easy. Maybe they don't get hyped up for the regular season. When you've won the division as many times as you have, and you've played in the playoffs, and you've played in as many big playoff games and Super Bowls like this team has the last 4 or 5 years, to get the energy and the focus for the regular season has to be tough. Offense racks up over 400 yards, total yards. The points, 26 points, was not indicative of the offensive output.
No way.
Or was it Nick? I can't. One of you guys talked about the Rashee Rice touchdown that was taken away on an iffy block in the back penalty on Juwan Taylor. He kind of gets pushed into them from behind, but he also didn't really get shoved hard into him from behind. So a couple field goals they had to settle for there. But really, they could have put up 40 points. 38 points in that game easily. They took their foot off the gas there at the end of the 4th quarter and were running it with the backups. So, Nick, the offense, they flip a switch? outside of the turnover by Clyde Edwards-Helaire when the game was basically over.
Yeah,
right?
a minute left or 2 minutes.
No turnovers, a couple drops, which it's gonna be hard to fault guys for maybe a drop or two here and there in that game. That would have been trying to like catching a bowling ball, as cold as it was. Nick, do you think the Chiefs flipped the switch for the playoffs?
Yeah. Is there any doubt that they could have put up over 30 points in that game if they had tried to at the end of the game? I mean, the last
Right.
6 minutes of the game was essentially the Chiefs packed it up on offense and were just, I mean, literally people were leaving the stadium. They knew the game was over. So, they didn't need to score anymore. For some reason, winning by 19 isn't as sexy when you score 26 points as it is if you score 36 points. But yeah, they flipped the switch. They knew that field goals were going to be enough. And so they weren't taking some of these risks. Patrick must watch the show because I did, say last week he's going to need to try to run it in the end zone. I didn't mean for him to try to truck a defensive player. He broke his helmet doing that. So kudos to him for trying. But yeah, look, the only thing I will say is that we did have some struggles at the goal line. They were getting through our offensive line when we were at the goal line, which was frustrating to watch a little bit. But overall, they had over 400 yards of offense. They scored 26 points. They won by 3 scores. There's not much else that you can ask a team to do in a postseason game than to do.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and it's a wild card game. The Dolphins, but they were 1 game away from winning their division. So that's not like some 7-seed scrub we've seen sneak in here the last few years by expanding the playoffs. Bo, what encouraged you most or maybe surprised you the most, or what's your biggest takeaway from the offense and the way they played Saturday night?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week about how Miami's a little bit banged up, and we kind of saw our offense expose that, right? We saw a lot of quick cross patterns and cross routes that it really exposed the lack of production that they were getting from their linebackers. I mean, their linebackers hadn't played a game all season, so I mean, it was kind of really expected. But I mean, what was so great about that? I mean, exposing that really helped our receivers get in the right mindset of like, oh, we can do this, right? And you saw them kind of turn a corner. You saw there wasn't that doubt that was creeping into anybody's mind. People were they were having fun. It was such a unique game. I mean, I know we kind of harshed on it, but the weather was such a through line that, like, for what Nick said, you can't ask for those kind of numbers in a playoff game in normal conditions, let alone minus 27. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. I'm just trying to like really harp on that and like really just say how well this offense did in those conditions, because it was really impressive for being what it was. I mean, yeah, we had 4 field goals, but one of those was a touchdown that was taken back. And we're talking about goal line woes. When you know you're going to run it, I mean, in those conditions, you're not passing. It was on the windier side of the stadium. So, I mean, like, everybody kind of knows run. And when you expect run, it's kind of easy to stop the run. So I'm not really faulting them for that. And I feel like in that kind of a situation anyway, you're kind of expecting field goals. You're not really expecting a high-scoring game with it being the way the weather was. So for our offense to do what they did, I'm just super impressed. And then our defense, like, just real quick, I mean, they're a defense that you can rely on. You know, I was really hesitant to say that all season, but now it's like it's super apparent that, yeah, you can really rely on these guys to come up with some big plays and some big stops during a game.
Yeah, Chiefs offense, I think the thing that surprised me the most was, I mean, Patrick Mahomes threw for over 200 yards in this game. We talked about with the wind and the cold and the hard football being more difficult to catch. They came out slinging the ball, right? And they were throwing it around. Take away some of the drops, and Patrick Mahomes has damn near 300 yards, maybe another touchdown or two if McCole Hardman can track his deep pass a little bit better. And you give Patrick the touchdown that was taken away on the penalty, you're looking at almost 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdown passes in a game where I think the expectation by most people was this is going to be a ground and pound game. We talked about it. The only thing that maybe gave us pause or was going to be the path to victory for the Dolphins was going to be if this was a game where the elements dictated both teams run the ball.
Right.
Their running game with Mostert, A-Chain was a little bit more explosive, a little bit more dangerous than the Chiefs' running game. that did not turn out to be the case at all. The Chiefs aired it out, and they actually they threw the ball better than they ran the ball. Pacheco had a few nice runs there in the first half, but really after that, the Dolphins, I thought, did a pretty decent job of kind of like snuffing the run out. You didn't see like any big, long 40 or 50-yard runs, anything like that out of the Chiefs offense. So they moved the ball more effectively through the air passing, which is a testament to Patrick Mahomes and just how freakishly unearthly the guy is when you look at
He's so good.
The elements, and he was throwing beautiful passes. You mentioned some of the short stuff, but the pass he threw down the hash marks there to Noah Gray, where he dropped it right over the defender into the breadbasket of Noah Gray. Some of the crossing passes, even like the deep crossers, the touchdown to Rice. I want to say there was another throw on a similar play to MVS that was right on the money. And outside of a couple drops, Travis Kelce, he had one bad drop right down there inside the 10-yard line that you'd like to think Travis Kelce, even in those conditions, he was wide open. He had time to get ready and body catch the ball. Outside of that, guys caught the ball. Rashee Rice was catching the ball, using his hands. Guys were out there snagging these passes out of that icy cold. I mean, I think they said the game was 6 or 7 below at kickoff and got down to maybe 10 below by the end of the game. That football had to have been hard as hell to catch. So they came out and put on a clinic as far as offense goes. 400 yards in the new modern day NFL doesn't sound maybe as good as it did. Like, I remember back when the Chiefs had Al Saunders and Trent Green and Priest Holmes and these guys, they had 400 yards of offense. That's a little bit more common nowadays, but that's still a hell of a production out of the offense. Rashee Rice,
oh yeah,
kind of dubbed this game. I think it's going around the internet now that this is the Rice Bowl, an obvious play on the Ice Bowl, the coldest game in NFL history.
It's a saying, right? I think it's a saying now.
Right.
Yeah. People say that.
Bo, Rashee Rice, how excited are you about him and how he played in his first postseason game in less than ideal conditions?
No, absolutely thrilled, right? I mean, you couldn't ask more from the guy. All season long, that's all we've heard is this like, man, we just need one guy to step up. Could you imagine if Patrick right now had a wide receiver one that he could throw to? We have Kelce, that's it. So for him to be the guy stepping up and performing like he's doing, I mean, he had a great season. I mean, a little rough start, but I mean, right there towards the end, the last couple of games, you really started to see him develop and his confidence grow. And you could see a lot of his potential, especially with the yards after the catch. That man, he gets the flow of the game. And we kind of saw it there definitely towards the end where he's starting to read at the end of the season, where he's starting to read defenses and make decisions on his own. And like, Patrick's seeing it and like Patrick's adjusting to that and building his confidence with him. So you couldn't ask for more for his performance from this game. Just so huge. I think, what do you say, 130 yards, something like that. You should have had 2 touchdowns. Nick captured his first one. I missed it, but I got a second one that got called back. Go check those out on our YouTube channel if you haven't seen those. But hell of a start, man. Hell of a rookie. And the dude's a rookie, and he's playing like a veteran. So super thrilled with his performance. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, but on top of it, not only is he getting open in those situations, but Patrick's looking for him in those situations, which shows that he has trust in him, right? I mean, he's probably going, okay, 87 and 4 or 4 and 87. And I mean, depending on where he is on the field. So it's really good to see that they're taking that next step. We've talked before that there's just something about like the chemistry between Patrick and MVS, and I know that MVS has had some drops, but there just seemed to be like a lack of chemistry and being on the same page between him and 11. There doesn't appear to be that same disparity between him and Rashee Rice. For him to come in and have that game in a playoff game in his rookie year, I mean, it's like him and Puka are just incredible. And you're really excited to see not only what can we do for the rest of this year, but what's he going to be like in year 2? What's he going to be like in year 3? And the Chiefs really have a gamer in number 4, and it's really good to see him progress, not make some of the mistakes that he's made with drops and mental mistakes, by not protecting the ball and having some fumbles. So kudos to him. And it was a lot of fun watching 15 go to 4 in that game. So
yeah, Rashee Rice was out there on PFF since week 13. He has over 500 yards receiving with no drops and 3 touchdowns. Probably could have had a few more touchdowns here that were called back. Yeah, like you mentioned, early in the year, he had the drops and the fumbles, and he's cleaned that up. To me, like the guy, he's also these last few weeks gotten away from there for a while. Like, it seemed like the way they were getting the ball was to throw it backwards or throw it parallel right there at the line of scrimmage on those little bubble screens and things like that. And then just let his athletic ability and his toughness to bring down. He's a hard guy to tackle, hard guy to get on the ground.
Yeah, it's big.
Now, Nick, you mentioned he's getting open downfield, and you can tell some of these plays, they're designed to go to him, right? Like, he's the guy. He's not the second read after a Travis Kelce or after an MVS. He's become the focal point of the passing game. Travis Kelce, I feel like he's been dealing with injuries this year. He had the knee hyperextension there at the beginning of the year, missed week 1. I know he had some big games, but, with the struggles of Moore and Tony and MVS, teams were locking in on Travis Kelce. You look at Rashee Rice now, and he kind of looks like Travis Kelce running down the field there when he catches the ball, especially when in space. I would love to see him find a way to get some of these longer passes into the end zone, right? That home run threat. But, hey, doubles and triples are nice too. So you'll take those, get you down into the scoring
all
range
day.
All day. So he has we talked a few weeks ago, who's going to step up out of this wide receiving core when it became pretty obvious that it wasn't going to be Tony. At least not this year. It wasn't going to be Sky Moore. It wasn't going to be MVS. They brought McCole Hardman in because I feel like the team felt they were struggling at wide receiver. He was a guy that was familiar with the offense. But, Nick, you talked about lack of chemistry. I feel that was McCole's biggest problem and kind of what led to him leaving out of here before being, returning. The team didn't resign him last year. You just never really felt like McCole was on the same page as Patrick. You see Patrick, he's like, no, you can't round that route off. You got to dig, and you got to be sharp out of that cut or keep running, and so Rashee Rice has been that guy. We talked about Justin Ross. Hopefully, if he could get more snaps, especially when Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney were missing time with injury, that for whatever reason has not materialized. Maybe he's just not near the player that he was and the prospect he was when he was in college coming out. I just every week that goes by, I'm kind of getting more and more down on Justin Ross, but Rashee Rice has been the man, and he's stepped up and he's stepped into the breach when the team has needed someone the most. So hats off to that guy. Travis Kelce.
Absolute beast.
Yeah, he had a good game too. I mentioned the one bad drop, but outside of that, he had 5 or 6 catches, right, for 60, 70 yards. That's
I think about 7 for 10 for 74 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That's still a good day when you got another guy that's going off for over 100. Travis Kelce maybe sitting out the last week of the season against the Chargers. Maybe that kind of rejuvenated him, gave him some juice. So it's going to be the Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce show moving forward in this postseason. I just feel like those are the guys the Chiefs are going to have to lean on, and they're going to have to continue to produce for this offense to evolve or grow. I don't know what the right word is to use, but they definitely looked better than it outside of maybe the Bears game, any other game this year, and the passing attack. You guys agree with that, Nick?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, the Bears, everybody said the best game all year. The Bears game, I mean, they were leading 41-0, but the difference in quality of opponent between the Dolphins and the Bears is pretty stark, right? I know the Dolphins were hurt. It was cold. I do want to say this. Everybody's talking about the cold like it only impacts one team. And it really reminds me of everybody talking about the field in the Super Bowl. They're like, well, yeah, well, the Eagles pass rush, like both teams didn't play on the same field, right? It was cold for everybody. And I know that the Chiefs, got to practice in it or whatever, but I'll tell you what, there's no getting used to what that game was. There's no, oh, well, I'm just used to this. I mean, we got there and we were running a little bit behind. And so I was rushing and I was like, I'll just put on my boots. Like I'll put the warmers in my boots and then I'll put on my gloves. I literally had my hands exposed on the outside of the car, lacing up my boots for maybe 60 seconds. And I couldn't feel the tips of my fingers, man. It was
next level cold.
And to have that performance, even against the dinged up defense in the passing game was really promising. And it does feel like they have centered on, okay, here's the guys. It's going to be Rashee Rice. It's going to be Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, Justin Watson is bit players. We're going to, give Mecole Hardman these snaps where we're going for the go routes, right? And he was close. And I want to be fair to Mecole because he's made some big plays for this team in the past. He was open, and I think he's going to have a part to play in this upcoming game against Buffalo. And I think that you're not going to see him dropping or not being able to locate those deep balls every time. And I think he's going to have a deep pass or a home run ball in this upcoming game against the Bills. So I want to be fair to him because he does have a history with the team. We did let him go because he wasn't like Jamar Chase, right? But he's been a dude that has made some big plays for us in the past, in the postseason. So.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. The Chicago game was a bit of an anomaly in the sense that like we were still finding out who our receiving core is, and then like Nick said, the caliber of teams was just completely different. And for us to go up that high in Chicago was a little bit expected. I don't think it was too expected here for us to kind of perform the way we were. In fact, what I heard from the media all week was, watch out from Miami's high explosive offense. The Chiefs are going to struggle to keep up if it's a shootout, yada, yada, yada. We heard about the weather all the time. And we even brought it up last week. And it was 30 degrees in Kansas City all week. But like when it drops another 60 degrees with wind chill, like Nick said, like you just don't prepare for that. Like nobody can. Like even if you were practicing in 30-degree weather, like that cold is so next level. It reminds me. So Nick, here he grows peppers as a hobby, and he grew some Carolina Reapers this year. And you were trying to build up a tolerance, right? Seeing if you could eat a Carolina Reaper every day. And I think the phrase you told me is it's just a heat you can't get used to. And that's the way this cold reminded me. It's just a cold you can't get you can't describe how it just cuts through everything. I was wearing 6 layers, and by the end of the fourth quarter, I'm like, I am ready to go. I felt like the Dolphins bench. Like, let's wrap this up, guys. We're done here.
Cancun on 3, everybody.
But to Nick's point, yeah, we both had to play it, and that's why I'm saying hats off to both teams playing in that. Like the mental focus it takes just to go out there and even want to like run into another grown human being at that temperature is next level. These guys are just savages. So hats off to these guys. That's why we watch them, and that's why they get paid the big bucks, and we get to sit there and freeze our butts off in the stands. But hey, how was your guys' seats, by the way? You guys got some really good seats up there in the yellow seats.
Yep, sat in the yellow seats, came across a pretty good deal on some club level tickets and couldn't pass it up with the heated concourse. It's been a while since I've sat there in the middle ring right there at Arrowhead, but the seats are pretty good. We put some pictures out there on the X account. I don't know if you got any out on Facebook or anything out there on the Instagram, but you can find us on all the social media platforms at Chiefs Kingdom Live. Check us out. No, great seats. It was an awesome experience. Can't move on, talk about the defense, though, without talking about Patrick Mahomes in this game. We just talked about Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes was throwing dimes in the terrible conditions. He has another hallmark, legendary signature play in his career in the postseason, especially where he tries to lower the shoulder and bulldoze his way into the end zone. And so cold outside that he shattered his helmet, basically, right? His helmet cracks, and you watch the replay on TV, and you can see like a piece of it comes like flying off. It's like flipping through the air when he gets hit. Patrick Mahomes, is there anything or any condition that this guy can't do or not playing? Nick?
No, he's never going to quit, right? I mean, if his nickname wasn't the Grim Reaper, you might call him the Terminator, because like he's never going to stop. It doesn't matter, right? What impressed Brett Veach about him the most, I think, was a game where the other team had scored like 60 points and they had put up 7 because he kept going out there and he kept trying, for the whole game. Yeah, it's just he's just going to do whatever is necessary to in his words, drag his ass across the finish line, or drag their asses across the finish line. And you've seen him kind of feel like he's dragging this team through the regular season. And when it came down to it, man, down there at the goal line, like he's going to go for it. He's taking off on 4th down, right? That was a huge 4th down conversion.
Huge.
I mean, he's trying to get in the end zone, and he said that maybe young Pat would have got in there, would have spun or something. He tried to, I think he kind of got hit. And so he was thinking, well, I'll just take my chances. I don't think he had much of a choice. Just lower my helmet. I mean, there's a lot of talk about, well, if Patrick Mahomes made this play, then, this, or if Patrick Mahomes made this play, then that. If Josh Allen lowered his helmet into a defender and smashed his helmet in a game, like everybody would be just talking about what a warrior is. And then all I see is just kind of, oh, well, they didn't follow the procedure for a broken helmet, or, is he going to get a fine for lowering his helmet? It's just kind of funny to see us, take on that villain in the NFL. And it's pretty sweet, really, because
those are haters.
Know that we're just like, I mean, Cat Williams style, right? Like, you want haters. when you see a guy literally break his helmet trying to get into the end zone, and all you get is hate, that your team is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, dude, we're at that point where, like, when Brady was winning everything, and people are like, oh man, of course the Patriots are in it again, right? Oh, yeah, they're in the playoffs. Yeah, they got a shot. They got Brady, right? That's now how everybody feels about us. And like, I didn't realize it's such a good feeling being on the other end, because I was one of those haters. I was a Brady hater, just like, oh, fucking course they're in it again. But no, dude, there isn't anything he can't do. You can rely on playoff Patrick Mahomes. Like, holy cow, man. That guy can put a team on his shoulders and do exactly everything that Nick just said, and then some. Like, his tenacity just shines through in the postseason. I don't think he's lost in the postseason, if I'm correct. In like, other than the championship game, right?
Right.
Right.
That's the. I mean, it's just unreal that he's on our team, man. And watching him play in that game, what was really more impressive though was like when he took command and was able to just, like I said, like, they really controlled the clock super well. His ability to not only go for big strikes down the field, you mentioned that pass to Noah Gray, but like his ability to scramble, as Nick said, just to know where he's at on the field, hit guys in the short when he needs to. His awareness is just so great and composed now. People are criticizing him for not taking as many risks as he used to, but I love that he's so much more controlled. And like we kind of alluded to it at the top of the hour, he knows that field goals will win, especially in this kind of game where the weather's that kind of a factor. So just knowing that he has that kind of mindset to go out there and just perform how he needs to, when he needs to, and then they ate up so much clock that he kept both teams, like he kept the defense on their heels and the offense on the sidelines freezing their ass off, which probably hurt them even more when you have those guys on Miami's side. They're so fast. Like, you're not going to be that fast when your muscles are that cold. So hats off to him just controlling the clock, man. That was one of the more impressive things I saw from him in this game, was just their ability to just dominate.
Yeah, he's 5-0 in the divisional round of the playoffs. And in his lifetime, he's never not made the championship game. John C. put it very succinctly when he said he's just a born winner. The dude he wins. He's going to go out there and he's going to find a way to drag the team across the finish line if he has to get the win. And he's never going to quit. And no weather or opponent or deficit, anything like that is going to deter the guy and keep him from giving his team a chance to win. you look at the games he did lose. I mean, he lost the AFC Championship to Tom Brady in his first year as a starter because he didn't get the ball in overtime and his defense couldn't get a stop, and D Ford was offsides basically. And the Bengals game, he's a Tyreek Hill drop or whatever you want to call it away from, I mean, really getting them in field goal range and getting them down there in overtime of that game. So, I mean, he's pushed it to overtime in the championship or further every year as a starter. That's just absurd in the National Football League.
Absurd.
And what some people will call the toughest or the hardest, most competitive league in the world. I mean, the NFL, I mean, it's the best of the best.
And the more competitive conference within that league.
Right. Yeah. So that guy, there's the kind of like a funny thing. Someone pointed out that the Reaper's back because the piece of plastic that chipped out of his helmet was shaped like the Reaper's like
Such a cool image.
And like the little sickle thing was like broken out of there. The legend grows with Patrick Mahomes, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. I don't have a feeling. Got to talk about the defense in this game. They came out and they hounded the Miami Dolphins offense. I know Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill had been banged up here coming down the stretch and missed time, but they were healthy enough to play. They had Raheem Mostert back for this game. They had Devon Achane for this game. Durham Smythe, he's a little bit of an underrated tight end, especially if you play fantasy football. He's a guy that people will be familiar with. River Craycraft is a guy that can make some plays too and get open downfield. Outside of the one play to Tyreek Hill, which was really like a weird underthrown ball that kind of made it harder for the defender, right, to track and stay on top of. And Tyreek Hill is just a freak too. The guy's
Yeah, he's so
not only
good.
does he have cheated speed, but he has cat elusiveness. I mean, the guy can stop and turn on a dime. Outside of that, the Miami Dolphins offense, one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL this year, did absolutely nothing against this defense. Nick, what stood out to you on the defensive side of the ball? What impressed you the most, or what maybe surprised you, or what's your takeaway from how the defense played?
I don't know if surprise is the right word, but just the physicality of the defense. Like you saw, if you watch the replay, that Isaiah Pacheco touchdown. I mean, you see where the Miami Dolphins really just don't want to attack and tackle him.
Right.
I mean, they just don't, right? And then you see the Chiefs just laying the wood to people, man, just hitting hard, right? So the physicality there, just really kind of bullying that team. They're a finesse team, and we've seen this on the other end before, where the Chiefs were the finesse team, and they were the finesse offense, and they run into somebody that is like a really physical, just like smashing in the mouth team, and they struggle, right? And so just seeing that, I mean, especially in that cold, the body and the mind, you don't want to hit people that hard. I mean, have you ever, smacked your hand on something when it's ice cold?
Right, dude.
It freaking hurts.
Miserable.
So that I was impressed with. I mean, we saw what we could do against their passing game before, but they had their backs healthy. They had some the ball against Buffalo the week before. So I was impressed with the fact that they didn't have any runs over 10 yards. And they run that gimmicky play where it's like Tua looks like he turns around to pitch the ball on the side where there's nobody, and then he hands it off, and they have a few different plays that they run out of that look. It didn't fool the Chiefs at all, and they left that out. So really just how they handled that run game, because that's really all they had. You could tell that they weren't really trusting Tua to throw the ball too deep, for that game. So,
Bo, what did you notice about the defense?
Well, I don't know why the Miami offense just didn't listen to Kyle Brandt and just score 30 points.
Yeah.
Like it was supposed to be just that easy, right? No, that's what it is right there. Kind of the culmination of just the shit talking I heard in the media all week with what the output of that game was. I mean, the through line was, watch out. The Dolphins are going to put up 30, and here are all the stats. If the Chiefs don't score more than 21 points, yada yada, it's going to be a shootout. Can the Chiefs keep up with them? This is the most, like you said, the most prolific offense in football. We saw them put up a 70 burger this year. They have explosive energy. They can do this at any point. They got Mostert. They got HN. They got the run game. Watch out, all the levels. Defense is banged up. Offense full throttle. Held them to 7 points. The most prolific offense. I mean, yeah, the weather's a factor, but as Nick pointed out, rightly so, it's a factor for both teams. And for the fact that they couldn't put anything together just shows that our defense is in lockstep with one another. They are rolling. We're at full strength. I mean, I can't remember a time where like everybody wasn't hurt on defense. I mean, we have Nick Bolton still wearing a cast. I don't know if we're at 100%, but we got Nick Bolton, Tranquil, all of our DBs and safeties back at full strength. I mean, I think we're still missing Cook, but I mean, other than that, like we're there. And man, they look sharp. Like I said earlier, this is one of those defenses that you can really kind of rely on. We haven't had that in the past, and so I know that feeling and that hesitation of wanting to be like, should we rely on a defense a little bit? Like my gut isn't telling me that this is the right move, but this is one of those guys or one of those squads that you definitely can. They've shown it through and through, time and time and again, and they're still at full strength. And like Nick said, just laying the stick down on people. Yeah, they're what's not impressive about these guys?
All the superlatives.
Yeah, to me, it was their ability to get off the field on third down. I think the Dolphins were like 1 for 13 on third down. They got in there. George Karlaftis had a huge play. I mean, he had a tackle for loss. He had a sack. I want to say he had 5 or 6 solo tackles. He was in there harassing it. Chris Jones got after it, got himself a sack in this game. Charles Omenihu, I don't think that he got a sack, but he was in there, and they were harassing too. They shut down that run game. I know everybody talks about the high-flying Dolphins and the Cheetah and Jalen Waddle and all the speed they have. Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert are 2 very, very good, dangerous, explosive, fast running backs. And they didn't do anything in this game. They came out, and the Dolphins were running the ball, and the Chiefs were ready for it. They were tackling. They weren't missing tackles. They were in the right place. Spags had them lined up and in position to make plays, and they made plays. And just to suffocate a dynamic, it's not like they just said, okay, well, we can sell out against the run, but it's not like we have to worry about a speedster like Tyreek Hill beating us, right? And it's like, oh, well, we could just drop back into coverage and play this 2-cloud deep thing, take away all the deep passes. Remember that was what the defense was doing to the Chiefs offense the last couple of years. They had Tyreek Hill, and we're going to abandon the box. You can't do that against that team either because they can run the ball. And they've got guys that, before you know it, they're by you, and they've got a long run. They shut down that offense. I mean, it was like you talk about the offense flipping a switch and turning it on. It's like the defense just flipped a switch and turned off. The
defense has that big power switch. It takes 2 hands. And they just kept that shit on all season.
Yeah. And just the way the cornerbacks played. McDuffie had a huge hit on Tyreek Hill. L'Jarius Sneed. Man, the Chiefs need to re-sign that guy. Every week that goes by, the guy just impresses me more and more and more. He said after the game, we came out and we punched him in the mouth and we saw blood. That's the mindset you want on defense, right? You come out and we're going to hit you.
Hard fight, not a chess game, right?
We're going to see if we can make you bleed, and we're going to see what you do when we do. The pass that he broke up in the end zone against Tyreek Hill. If you watch that play, man, he jumps over Tyreek Hill's back without touching Tyreek Hill, and his feet are like shoulder level. They're almost to Tyreek Hill's shoulder pads. The guy is an athletic freak. He's tough. He's nasty. He's got attitude. Did y'all see the mic'd up with L'Jarius Sneed from the game that they put out?
I did.
He's like, stop running from me, 10. stop running from me. He gets in guys' heads. McDuffie, you could tell, was pissed off after the game too that he gave up that touchdown. He's like, I feel like I'm the reason we don't have a 0 on the scoreboard after this game.
What a statement, though, right? Like you could tell he's genuinely like upset about it, but like, man, should have had a shutout in the playoffs.
Yeah,
against this offense.
JT's pointing out, there was people that had to have emergency services come take him out of the game. Now, people don't come prepared. I was never that uncomfortable with the weather. Again, I had 4 pairs of pants on and 5 shirts and hoodies and a winter coat and 2 stocking caps and a face shield. Props to my man Bo, the snowboarder here, coming through with the face shield. That was a lifesaver. But
hand and foot warmers, right? Like the chemical ones
too.
That heat up.
Yep, those things are a lifesaver too. But no, it was cold, JT, and I wish
even with all that.
I almost signed up for Peacock so I could go back and watch the game broadcast because it's just so much different when you watch a game live as watching it on TV. And I was kind of wanting to see if I could rewatch the game from the broadcast. And I caught the highlights, but I didn't get a chance to go back and watch it. But
I might may or may not have a website for you, Scott.
There you go. Everybody's talking about I was getting messages from people that I know that like live out of town, and they're like, "Are you at that game? Are you at this game right now?" And I was like, "Yep." They're like, "Are you serious?" Like, my buddy who lives in New Mexico, he was like, "Bro, I'm like cold. Like, I put my jacket on, just go like sit on the couch watching the game." So,
this gives you an idea how bundled up we were.
Right. Minimum skin exposure. So I feel like if you had to go to the hospital to get treated for this game, you're probably one of these idiots that had your shirt off, or the guy sitting next to me, man. Maybe he had layers on underneath.
He was wearing a hoodie.
Good base stuff, but he was wearing like a hoodie and a stocking cap, and the hoodie did not look like it was sticking out. Like he had a whole bunch of layers of clothes on underneath it. Just kind of huddled over with his arms like this most of the game watching it. He set his beer in the cup holder. I was looking at it. You could see the foam in the top of it start to like ice over, and you could see like little crystals.
Oh yeah,
on top of the beer. It was cold, but it
I
was
wearing this neck gaiter here, and breathing through it for the whole game. You get out in that wind, and I was like, why is my I understand why my face is burning, but why is my neck burning from breathing through it? It was just wet, and that -30 wind was blowing like probably 15 or 20 miles an hour right in my face. Dude, that thing just turned to a chunk of ice. I was like, well,
no time. Luckily, the walk to the car was about 100 times colder.
10 times colder. Oh man,
so bad
than actually sitting in the game. So
getting out there in that wind. The guy next to me was wearing cowboy boots. I felt so bad for that guy. I looked over. I was like, your feet got to be freezing, right? He's like, yeah. Oh yeah. Cowboy boots is not the move to go to in that kind of weather.
JT, come out here and we'll take you to one of those games next time it's 10 below zero at kickoff.
We'll get you out there. Real quick before we move on and talk about this Bills game, kudos as well to Harrison Butker. Perfect. It had to have felt like he was kicking a bowling ball right out there. I know they have kicker balls and they keep them like in a bag, and the guys are constantly squeezing them and sitting on them and holding them in their jacket, trying to keep them warmer. But the second anything touches the air out there for more than 10 or 15 or 20 seconds, man, it was just getting frozen. Patrick said his spare helmet was frozen solid and it didn't fit his head. It was super uncomfortable. But hey, JT, you got a place to crash and you come on out here and we'll get you. I got your ticket. We'll make sure we get you up there in Arrowhead if the Panthers are playing out here. But Harrison Butker, he's been nails this year. 2 misses all year. Another perfect outing from him, and just kept adding to that lead. Defense getting stops. Chiefs score a touchdown, kick a few field goals, score another touchdown. Next thing you know, you've got a 3-score lead. So props to that man. What a resurgence that guy.
He's only missed like
right?
2 on the season, right?
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. And one of them was the game in New England where they underinflated the ball, which
Deflategate 2.0.
they had Deflategate.
It's hard to believe that happened in New England.
Yeah. Props to that guy. Before we move on to the last thing is when they started playing swag surfing in the crowd, and the whole crowd started dancing, and all of the Chiefs players were dancing. I looked over and you could see Tyreek Hill standing on the sideline. I was just looking at him.
He wanted to dance
I was
so
looking at the
bad.
Dolphins, especially him in particular, and just thinking, man, that guy has to have been thinking, I know he got a lot more money. He got an extra $30 million over 4 years or whatever it was to go there, but
How
there had
fun
to have
does
been
that
like
look over
little
there?
bit of regret there, like, man, I left this shit to go here. Like, watching the whole crowd partying and watching the Chiefs on the sideline and the defense on the field dancing and partying, and you're
Singing Garth Brooks together, man, it was a good time.
right, you're getting your ass kicked, and it's sub-zero temperatures, and you're frozen, and you're getting your ass kicked, and you're getting embarrassed, and the crowd is like dancing and partying, and you're just standing there. That just sucked. Extra suck for the Dolphins. So, with the win though, you just get to play at the Buffalo Bills Sunday, and they don't call it Orchard Park anymore, or Highway or Highmark Stadium or something like that. I can't even think of the name of the stadium, but
Bring your own shovel stadium.
Yeah.
Bring a shovel. This game coming up, man. A 6th straight AFC Championship appearance is on the line for the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo Bills, they win their game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 7 seed. What was that, 31-17? But that game was 24-17. The Steelers kind of making a little bit of a comeback. They had a nice drive there. And then, of course, Allen has a late slide that he gets a penalty on, and then they get another penalty, and next thing you know, they're in field goal range, and then the Steelers have some of the worst tackling I've ever seen in my entire life. And Buffalo ends up winning by 14. Before we kind of break down what we think the keys are or players to watch, Nick, how you feeling about the Buffalo Bills, Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game?
All right, I got a comment on that, because one of the stories has been that Patrick Mahomes has never won a road playoff game, right? And
Real quick, sorry to cut you off. For those that don't know, this is a thing in our text thread. Like Nick was on this one, so
yeah. So, and we'll probably have a post on X about it later. But so I got to thinking, like, okay, so everybody's saying like that. Oh well, he's never won a road playoff game. He's never won a road playoff game. So I started looking, and I found on StatMuse, Josh Allen has also never won a road playoff game. But I know that he's playing at home, so it doesn't matter for this game. But I was sitting there thinking that when we win this weekend, that means that Patrick Mahomes will have more road wins in the postseason than Josh Allen.
Yep.
So I don't know. It was just one of those things where
it's funny how nobody points that out.
Yeah, nobody has pointed that out, right? So it's one of those things. The only difference, of course, being that Mahomes has never had to play a road playoff game, and Josh Allen has played in 3, 2 of which were against the guy that's coming to town. So,
right, big part of the reason Josh Allen's never won a road playoff game is because of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what was the question? How am I feeling?
Yeah, how you feel about the game?
Look, I feel good about this game. We played this team, and they beat us at our house. It was a 3-point victory for them, and there were 7 points called off because Kadarius Toney's foot was half a foot over the line on a penalty we hadn't been called on in 25 years. I've watched the Bills now. Nick Wright, I know he annoys some people. He kind of broke this down beautifully, though, about the difference in the way that the Dolphins win that the Chiefs had is viewed over, like, versus the Bills win over the Steelers. I think the Chiefs are playing their best ball of the season right now. We have Isaiah Pacheco that we didn't have in that game. and they're hungry, and this team does not like to feel like they've been slighted. And I'm sure that they've heard the noise about, oh well, they've had the easy road, they've got to play teams at home, they this and that, and they've never won on the road. I'm fully confident in our team's ability to go in there and win this Sunday. I mean, is it going to be an easy game, or are we going to just throttle them? Doubtful, but are we going to win? I mean, I would, if I was betting, I would bet on the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Buffalo. This is a team that was circling the drain 4 or 5 weeks ago, and
Right.
people were talking, are they going to miss the playoffs? And they won 5 in a row, but they beat the Chargers by 2. They barely beat the New England Patriots, who were the second worst record in the NFL this year.
Yep.
They needed a punt return touchdown to beat this Miami Dolphins team to win the division and get that number 2 seed, a team the Chiefs just manhandled and made look like a JV squad out there. The Bills are the media darlings. They're Josh Allen. They're the lovable under. They're the Chiefs 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Right.
Mahomes first started and was setting all these records, and the offense was high flying, and they lost to the Patriots in the championship game. And, they went up against the evil empire and came that close to taking them down. And then the next year they make the Super Bowl and they come back from behind and win against the 49ers. Everybody loved the Chiefs and everyone's happy for the Chiefs. Now it's just they're the villains, and Buffalo's the lovable underdog, the scrappy guy team that's never quite gotten there yet, but has come close. It feels like people think like the Bills are just clearly the better team than the Chiefs for some reason.
It does have that feeling.
And you see people. Go ahead, Bo.
I was gonna say it's funny because like people will bring up like past records, right, of the Bills, like, oh, look at how good Josh Allen's postseason record is, or like look at this in this, and you're like, oh, okay, well look at Mahomes the past, like, oh, well, that's Mahomes in the past. What has he done this season? And you're like, well, okay, well look at what Josh Allen did this season. Is everything you pointed out, scraping by victories, right? Like, yeah, it's hard to win in the NFL, but when you point it like a lot of these were 1-point victories. Nick pointed out that they barely beat us because our receiver's foot was over the line. Like the worst call you could make to end the game, right? And that would have been a really remarkable victory on our end had we like scored that and Travis Kelce gets that lateral touchdown. Like we would be talking about that, would have sent them home, right? I mean,
think
wouldn't even be playing them.
Yeah, they're not even in the playoffs, right? If they lose that game,
exactly, we sent them home that game, right? So like they're literally a receiver's
right.
toe from not even being in this conversation, right? And they're going to act like, oh, they are just the most dominant team we saw in the last 6 weeks, and that couldn't be further from the truth, right? I'm liking this game just simply from all this stuff. Like why can't you bring up the Chiefs past? Like there's a reason you have a resume. Mahomes' resume is unreal, especially when you look at divisional games. That's what I was alluding to earlier. He hasn't lost a divisional game. I said postseason game, meant divisional game. Correct
right.
that. But why wouldn't you bet on this guy? He's clearly the better quarterback, and history will show it. Look at Josh Allen in the situation versus Mahomes in the situation. Clearly Mahomes is going to get that. We have the better coach. Andy Reid's been here so many more times. I really like the question though. Like this was posed, I think it was on Nick Wright's show, Nick, and I'd like to pose it to you guys because I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Is this game the biggest game for Josh Allen's career?
Yes. I mean, if they lose to the Chiefs
for a third time,
I mean, the fans are going to start to question. They won't question Josh Allen, but they'll start questioning the coach. We saw it. I mean, we saw it with Alex Smith here. We questioned Alex Smith, and it did. I want to be fair to Alex Smith because like he's one of my favorite Chiefs players of all time. But we saw it with Mahomes. We're like, okay, yeah, all right. Well, Alex Smith actually did, prevent this team from maybe getting over the hump. He could have won with a better defense. I'll always argue that. But you start to see it when you don't have success and you feel like you have the opportunity. So you're going to say, okay, so, well, now we got Mahomes in our place and we still lost. And we lost to Joe Burrow here last year. Like, what's got to change for us to get over the hump? Oh, by the way, Josh Allen's price tag goes up significantly next year. oh, by the way, there was all kinds of drama with Stephon Diggs this year. So he's probably like, dude, I'm out, right? I'm not going to sit here. I came here to win and we're not winning. So yeah, I think there's like a hell of a lot of pressure on them to win because like they've made changes in their offensive coordinator this year already. Dude, there's pressure. They have a Lombardi banner hanging in their training facility. So I think that it's the most pressure they've ever had to win a game.
Yeah, I don't know the AFC Championship game. Oh, Bo's on mute there. The AFC Championship game that they lost against the Chiefs was a pretty big game. I mean, you got a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. If they win this game, they still got to go and beat another team to make the Super Bowl. It's close. I mean, those two are like 1A and 1B if they're not
right.
So,
but the AFC Championship, I feel like they like overachieved that year in the eyes of their fans, right?
Maybe. I mean,
they were pretty dominant that year,
right?
Yeah, they lost the wild card round the year before.
Yeah, but they didn't have Stephon Diggs right yet.
Sure.
That first year, that was the first. So they had. I mean, that was another year where everybody talked about, oh, Chiefs don't want to play the Bills. I'm remembering it different than you. That year, to me, it felt like people were saying, oh, the Chiefs don't want to play the Bills. Chiefs don't want to play the Bills, because I recall pretty vividly making a video and putting it out on Twitter at the time, like, I don't want to hear no more about Chiefs don't want to play the Bills and the Bills are better or Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes and all this other nonsense. They spanked them in that game at Arrowhead in that AFC Championship game. It was not that close of a game.
Right.
You bring up the people are talking about, oh, well, yeah, but it's in Buffalo this time. How did playing the Bengals in Buffalo in the divisional round work out last year for the Buffalo Bills? They got their ass
right.
They got smoked by the Bengals in that game.
And so that's what I'm saying, right? So like I feel like there's like a lot more added pressure on the Bills than there are for us. I mean, it's you win or you go home, right? There's that pressure in any playoff game. But man, I feel like there's a spotlight right on Josh Allen in a sense that like I don't know if he's ready for it. In that sense, I'm really liking our chances in this game.
Yeah, no, I do too. I know we played them earlier this year, so to say they haven't played defense like this, the Chiefs haven't had this kind of defense. So they played them. They definitely have not played the Chiefs in a postseason game when the Chiefs had a defense this good.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
And they couldn't beat us. Patrick Mahomes actually has more road wins in his career than he has home wins by 2 games.
Yeah, better road player than a home player.
Part of that is because he played that final game of his rookie year right against the Broncos and won that game. But this team, you look at some of his touchdown totals and yards of passer rating are better somehow on the road to home. I keep hearing this thing that it's like, oh, well, like the Bills are the clear favorite. And I just don't see it that way. I don't see how they're the favorite.
Doesn't see it that way. It's a 2.5-point game, right?
Yeah, 2.5 to the Bills.
They say they give 3 to the home team. So, I mean, they're saying they'd favor the Chiefs on a neutral field.
Yeah, JT.
JT's asking, speaking of Burrow, who's the bigger rival for the Chiefs, the Bills or the Bengals?
Yeah, I would say the Bengals. I was thinking about this earlier. Sorry, I'm just going to jump in and take that one, gentlemen. But I was thinking the Bengals. Like, so many teams want to claim that they have the rivalry with us, right? But like, for me, I just feel like it's the Bengals. The amount of shit talking, like the mayor getting involved and coming in and calling like for Mahomes to get a paternity test and all this shit. Like, I haven't seen that come out of Buffalo or other fan base. Like, for me, the rivalry comes with the shit talking, and man, does Cincinnati pour it on. And I think we kind of equally do back at them as well. Plus Jamar Chase and his antics, like he'll get his ass beat and then come back on and still talk shit. And you're just like, oh, dude, I just want to beat this guy, man. Like, I want to send him home.
Before this game, I would have definitely said the Bengals, but this is the 3rd time in 5 years the Chiefs are going to play the Bills in the playoffs. One of those games was to go to the Super Bowl. The other was to go to an AFC Championship game. Now this game is to go to an AFC Championship game. It's kind of, they did beat us. They beat us at home to go to the Super Bowl. So I probably lean Bengals, but they're neck and neck. I mean, like I said just a minute ago, I mean, it's 1A and 1B. I mean, I put the Bengals at 1A and probably the Bills at 1B. Nick?
I would say team-wise, I'd go Bengals. If you're talking about quarterback-wise, I think there's a rivalry of who's the better quarterback. It's a bigger discussion between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen's the reason that Patrick didn't get a unanimous MVP last year, right? And so there's obviously, I think that if you're talking about just the best quarterback in the league conversation, that's more like a Mahomes versus Allen debate where, people would discuss in the previous generation of quarterbacks, who's better, Brady or Manning, right? The only difference being that, Patrick has the stats and the Super Bowl wins right now. Manning had the stats and then Brady had the championships. So I would say team-wise, though, it is the Bengals. Look, I'll be honest, I'll never forget walking out of that stadium after the AFC Championship game when we lost, and I'll never forget when we won too. But I mean, walking out after losing, like that's like a bitter pill to swallow. Their fans are very vocal, right? I mean, a lot of shit talking going on. Bills fans, like I feel like it's online it's pretty hateful, but I mean all the Bills fans like I've seen have been pretty cool. They don't talk a lot of shit before the game. Right. Like even the Bengals fans, like, I mean, in the game they lost, they're still talking shit like before the game.
Right.
Yeah, no, Bengals fans definitely more arrogant.
Yeah, they're more arrogant. That's a good word for it. So I'll lean there. But between the quarterbacks, I think it's the debate right now is Mahomes versus Allen. So
there's a belt. I don't think it's up for contention anymore in the UFC. It's called the BAMF, the BAMF belt, badass belt, right? It's between Nate Diaz and George Masvidal. I think that was the last two to fight for it. I can't remember who won. It's escaping me. But I feel like that's kind of like if there were belts in the NFL, that'd be like the quarterback belt that's up for grabs in this game.
Yeah, for sure. What's the key to the game for the Chiefs? Bo?
Man, a lot of what we saw in this last game, like the Bills really caught fire with their run game. So I'd really like to see our containment of the run stay as sharp as it was. And then I really think the biggest key is going to be spying Josh Allen. A lot of questions have been floating around the internet, like should that be on Drew Tranquil or Willie Gay? And my answer to that is yes. Both those guys I feel like are more than competent to put that guy right on his ass. So yeah, someone big and ready just to hit hard. They're talking about another cold weather game, about being like, in the single digits. So a nice warm weather game for us compared to last week. So I like these guys were hitting that hard in that kind of weather. I'd like to see what they're going to do in a nice balmy 5 degrees. So no, just spying Josh Allen. I think that's their biggest threat is his legs. Our defense is solid enough to lock up the receivers. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this show, how we locked up everybody from Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. We've done it to Diggs before, right? So they're gonna really have to use their tight ends that they highlighted in their last game. But yeah, spying Josh Allen with our linebackers, I think is going to be the key.
Nick?
Yeah, I'll agree with you there, Bo. I think I would say don't let Josh Allen score, right? Running the ball, and don't let him extend drives running the ball. He is a magician at third down like Patrick Mahomes is. He's a big dude. He's fast. So containing him and getting pressure on him and just not letting him beat you with his legs. I know that he can throw the ball, but our coverage is good. And if you can get pressure on him, like he will make mistakes and he will throw the ball up and throw interceptions. So I think that's big, or fumble, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's my key as well. And just don't beat you running the ball, right?
He's got the most turnovers in the league, right? Since he started.
Yep.
Yeah, to me, I think the defense is going to do their thing. I think they hold the Bills to right there around that 20 or below mark. The Chiefs are going to have to exploit the Bills' defense on offense. They're going to have to play a clean game. Don't turn the ball over. Don't drop passes, and score points. But you're going to have to score more touchdowns and field goals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Either
They
home
can
run
do it.
plays or red zone, right? Efficiency, one of
Right.
the
I
two.
mean, I know it sounds like, well, then you're saying it's like going to be on the defense, but the defense has done what they've done all year. I think that you're going to need you're going to need to see the Chiefs do what they did this last week against the Dolphins. Play a clean game, go out there, move the ball, catch the ball, don't put the ball on the ground, don't turn it over. Let Josh Allen make a mistake or two. Let your defense, like I said, do their thing that they've been doing all year, and continue this momentum on offense and get to that. Chiefs score 24, 25 points, they're going to win this game.
Yeah.
I just don't see the Chiefs defense folding and giving up 30 or 28 or some crazy, 35-point game. I just don't see it. They got too many good players. Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed and Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil and Willie Gay and Chris Jones and Charles Omenihu and George Karlaftis. I mean, Mike Dana. These guys, we
Primed
know
and ready to go too.
Right. I mean, we know what they're going to do. So, offense is going to have to be able to hold up their end of the bargain in this game against the Bills. Player to watch on offense or defense, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, Rashee Rice seems easy. I'm gonna go Mecole Hardman. Mecole had 2 big misses in that game that could have been huge plays, and I think it shows that they are trying to get him open down the field. They want those home run shots. So watch him, because there's going to be a lot of attention on Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice, right after last week.
Yeah. That's a good pick.
Bo, who are you looking at?
I'm going to go on the other side of the ball. I love our defense and what we're doing right now. I kind of just alluded to it in my last little rant, but our linebacking core right now, I feel like they're up for big things. I don't feel like we were at this full of strength last time we played them. I'm pretty sure Nick Bolton was out. Was Drew Tranquil concussed?
No. So Nick Bolton had just come back and Drew Tranquil was out. I'm pretty sure.
That's what it was. Right. Yeah. It was the other way around. So one of them was out. So they're both going to be in there. And then just, man, with the way their guys are just running right now on defense, just having fun again, you know what I mean? Flying around, looking like they're out there to do it. So, the linebacking core and our defense, man, watch out for them. They shut out the Bills last time we played them in the second half. I'm pretty sure it's 3 quarters. I don't think they scored an offensive score in 3 quarters the last time we played them. And I'm not going to say that's going to be like a perfect repeat, but man, Spags has been able to just adapt and dominate in these games. They'll see what they're doing. Like, oh, all right, we're just going to do this, this, and this, and you guys aren't going to score again. So, defense for me.
I'm going to go with big number 95, Stone Cold Chris Jones.
Hey-o.
Get in there and collapse that pocket and flush Allen around. You know what I mean? Don't let him get comfortable. I know the guy can get out there and run, but Chiefs have been able to contain some of these run quarterbacks in the past, and I think it's just, just be disciplined. But yeah, I think Chris Jones, he had a sack in this game against the Dolphins, and he's playing maybe. He's trying to get some of this money back that he lost in his next contract. This is like a contract year, huge game against a big opponent. So weather conditions should help the defense. You'd think a little bit that favors them more than the offensive side of the ball. So not that I mean you can't get offense in the cold, but traditionally you're going to be looking at cold weather making it harder to air it out and to get the big plays. So. I'm really liking the Chiefs in this game. Patrick Mahomes has heard all the noise about never winning on the road and all this other nonsense. That dude's cold-blooded. He enjoys going into other teams' stadiums and sticking the dagger in there and walking out with the victory. He likes quieting. He's talked about it. He enjoys quieting opposing crowds.
Another player at full strength. This time last year, we were wondering if he was going to be able to even walk during the game.
Right. Yeah. So, score predictions. We want to get some score predictions.
Oh yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Just a reminder to the chat that we do score predictions every week. Throw your score prediction there in the chat. If you get it right, you'll be the lucky recipient of one of our CKL stickers. So let's see what you guys got out there and in the chat. But yeah, I will go first. Like I said, I love the way we're looking. I love like our offense was clicking, put them in a warmer game, which is going to be 20, 30 degrees warmer. I think we're going to do a lot of the same, man. I could see another good performance by them, scoring some touchdowns, getting up that 28-30 mark. So I'm going to say, let's say 30-14. I'm going to be really optimistic. We're going to put these guys to bed in their own home.
Oh, shit.
Bo's going with the beatdown. Nick, you going to go? You want me to go? Or?
No, it's okay. I'm going to go 23-17 Chiefs. I think it's going to be, 17? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be cold. There's going to be a lot of ball control offense going on. There's going to be a lot of running, right? And the Chiefs are going to get a couple of good touchdowns. Harrison Butker is going to make all of his kicks. And that 20 points is the number, right? If you score more than 20, probably going to win, or 21 or whatever that number is, where we're 8-0 now when we score 21 or more. So
I'm doing the Kyle Brandt method. Just score 30.
Just score 30. Yeah. Why? I don't know why everybody doesn't just score.
Pretty sure you're going to win if you score 30.
Scotty,
what do you got?
Nick kind of just stole my pick a little bit there. I was going to go.
Okay, a little closer.
I was going to go like 8 points. I was going to go like 24-16, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You can bookend me. I'm not going to be upset. JT, we tried not to bring up the fact that we snuck him off your practice squad, but we do appreciate Harrison Butker every day that he's on the field.
Right.
There we go, Kevin. Somebody on my page here. A little beat down action.
Man, I almost nailed the prediction last week. I had 26-13, and it was 26-7. So
that's actually pretty fucking good, man. That's really good.
JT's going 23.
I'll get you a sticker, Scott.
JT's trying to have me have a stroke, get my blood pressure through the roof here. 2-point win. Hopefully that's the Chiefs moving the ball down the end there to kick the game winner as opposed to 4 down. That scares the shit out of me. When you've got like a 1 or a 2 point lead at the end of the game and the other team has the ball and there's a minute left, because at some point you're going to have to get 4 straight stops because they're going for it every 4th down.
Exactly. 4th down territory.
Yeah, man. Chiefs just go take care of business, man. They're the defending champions. They've had this team's number in the postseason. You can yap all you want about the regular season games, but they're weird games too. I mean, the Kadarius Toney's foot offsides in this game 2 years ago. Last year at Arrowhead, the Chiefs had the lead in most of that game. They were up, and the Bills came down there and took it back, and then Patrick Mahomes actually threw an interception on the Chiefs' final drive to go down there and win that game, where Sky Moore was not where he was supposed to be. The year before that, remember that was the crazy game where they had like the torrential downpour and had to pause the game because of the rain and the lightning.
Yeah,
the lightning.
So they had to like stop playing and then come back in. Tyreek Hill had a dropped pass for a pick 6.
Dude, that was his MO that year.
The Bills have just not whipped the Chiefs in the regular season. Okay, it was always 3-1 against him. He's 3-1 against them. He could easily be 1-3 or 2-2 in the regular season. I mean, the fact of the matter is, since these teams started with the quarterbacks they have now, they're 3-3 against each other, and the Chiefs have won both postseason matchups. So, I think where the Chiefs are catching the Bills at the right time with some injuries on the defense too. Von Miller, he is really a guy that strikes a lot of fear into you. And Nick's wearing the jersey right there. You got number 15, baby. Like you're always the favorite when you got that guy. I feel like he's proven that at this point in his career with all of the wins and how far and the postseason success. I always talked about he became the Chiefs' all-time postseason rushing leader as well in this last game against the Dolphins, which is crazy to think about.
He just passed Marcus Allen.
Right, he passed Marcus Allen for most rushing yards in the postseason. Dang. Travis Kelce can get some records here pretty soon, man. Like
he's number 2 behind Jerry Rice
in catches, yards, and catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. Jerry Rice. And a few of those, he's like 11 catches away, and he's like 3 or 4 touchdowns away, I want to say. I mean, he can.
He just has a Raiders game this weekend, and
yeah, if he could play the Raiders in the playoffs, he'd break all of those records this week. So, but we all know the Raiders aren't making the playoffs anymore.
Right.
So, yeah. Anything we missed? Anybody in the chat got a question, or
I'll throw this out there. So if or when, we'll be optimistic, the Chiefs win this game on Sunday, do we have Arrowhead Invitational or do we go to Baltimore?
Ooh, man, that's tough.
Ooh. Man, that's so weird.
Houston can go compete with the Ravens. CJ Stroud proven to be the real deal. He could throw the ball better than Lamar Jackson. I know Lamar Jackson's going to win the MVP. It was funny. I was seeing there was people putting out there that Baker Mayfield statistically had a better year than Lamar Jackson did this year. So he happens to be on the team with the best record, so he's the MVP. That's the way that works now.
Glad to have you, Kathy. Thanks for joining.
So, yeah, appreciate the comment. Appreciate the praise, and happy to see you here. Thanks for swinging by.
Smash that like button if you haven't. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's tough. I think they go to Baltimore.
There you go.
And then they can go whip the Ravens in Baltimore. And they can go kick sand in the face of their fans in their stadium for once in the playoffs. Nick?
Yeah, that's tough. The Ravens just, they don't perform well, or Lamar Jackson doesn't perform well.
I mean, I thought long and hard about it.
So, yeah, I think that that's probably still Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore's just too tough of a team. CJ Stroud, he's outperformed what they expected as a rookie. I mean, they're good, but I don't see them as AFC Championship good.
Yeah, dude, that's almost a coin toss, really. I would give Baltimore a slight edge just because they have the clear better defense. I mean, Baltimore's defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL, if not ours, right? One of ours or theirs is. I mean, they're right. They're one in there, right there, in the same as far as stats and everything. But I just got to go with Nick. Baltimore they don't perform well in the postseason. This is why I might go with Houston. I'm gonna go with we're gonna host the Arrowhead Invitational just because Baltimore is gonna live up to their name. There's a reason they have only one postseason victory in the past 4 years, I think. Yeah, let's go Houston.
Yeah, hey, Zed, it's look, I mean, we don't hate on other fans. Everybody's welcome here. JT, he's a Panthers fan. So
we got Nico that comes here, Browns fan.
Yeah, we got Browns fans, So
a resident 49ers fan. Yeah, you don't.
There'll probably be some smack talk, but that's what makes football fun, right?
I'm trying to tell what Zed's profile picture is there. What is that?
Let's see.
Mario Kart?
No,
it's so small.
No, it's Josh Allen. It looks like.
Is that Josh Allen?
It's the Prime Energy drink. Is that what that is?
It's so small on my screen. It looks like the winning podium from Mario Kart.
I think it's Josh Allen, but it's Prime Energy drink because I see a bunch of primes and I think I see number 17.
See, it looks like I see number 14. Maybe Zed can tell us who that is in his
14?
profile. I'm on my phone here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I just went with 17 because isn't that Josh Allen's number? So, well, Zed, what's your score prediction then? We all put our score predictions up a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, we love it. Definitely, man. Any and all are welcome. So,
Big Doug brought it up earlier. What did you guys think about Josh Allen's slide? Since we're talking about the Bills right now, his would-be slide rush for a touchdown.
It looked, I don't know. I saw it from another angle, and it looked more like a head fake than a fake slide to me. I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe the guy pulled up because he thought he was going to slide, but it didn't look like he acted like he was going to go all the way down. It was more like he tried to deke him out. So
Oh, damn. We got SG Sports talking here. Chiefs 55, Bills 14. We'll take that.
Oh, let's
Oh,
go!
snap.
50 burger in the house. Hey,
There
if
we
they
go.
score 50 points, I will buy you a cheeseburger.
Man, a 49ers fan.
SG
other
Sports
than
Talk
John
channel.
B.
Everybody go sub to that channel right now because that was awesome. So Zed, he's in here or they're in here. I don't know. 35-30. I mean, that'd be an exciting game. We don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be that high scoring of a game based on how everything's been playing out. But we'll see.
Chiefs have only given up 30 or more points once in 2 years, and that was in the Super Bowl to the Eagles last year, right?
Which
Yeah.
to point out, we won. So, I mean,
Which
yeah.
we won 38. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's capable. I mean, he's
I feel
great.
like Josh Allen to me is. I feel like he's due to have one of these bad games against us because the guy doesn't play like he plays against us differently than every other team and every other game that I watch the guy playing.
Right.
Every time I watch him play somebody else, he has 2 or 3 turnovers and has crucial like overthrows and critical points of the game. But when he plays us, like the dude can't miss. So I almost feel like he's due to have a bad game against the Chiefs somehow. But okay, Zed's profile is Diggs. I got you. Okay. Yeah, number 14. So good to see you, SG. Thanks for coming by. SG, they got the luck of the draw there, playing the 7 seed Green Bay Packers. First 7
Is
seed.
that luck? They look pretty good.
They played the Cowboys in the playoffs, man. That's not,
Whoa, hold your horses there, partner. Here we go.
Dak's whack, man. I'm sorry. He's a choker. That's all there is to it. He does this every year in the postseason.
Pearson's 27-16 for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
How about those Chiefs? Let's go, buddy.
I knew the Cowboys were going to lose about 4 plays into that series when Dak kept repeating, "Here we go," before every play. Like I was just like, "Oh no, that's not going to work." Here we go. Yeah, brother.
Diggs has been pretty decent this year. I mean, he's been a little bit off. I mean, he's getting a little bit older. They've been leaning on the run more in flow as well. I think they're trying to limit Josh Allen's turnovers. Personally, I think that's the coaching staff. They fired their offensive coordinator and brought that new guy in, but I mean, Josh Allen got that guy fired because he was just throwing balls up for grabs and playing 500, right, and being careless with it. So,
did you guys see what Diggs wore into the game?
Yeah, it's weird.
Like a Chiefs colored sweater.
Yeah, red and gold and gray, like real Chiefs gold though, like red and gold.
I was just enamored by the Popeye forearms in the sweater. I mean, did you see it? They were like,
it was
super weird.
It was something
like a Kanye and Little Uzi Vert costume,
right?
Hey,
JT bringing up a good point. The Panthers, they did play Green Bay to 33-30 game, so Panthers got some. They got some early picks coming up here in this draft. Get a couple of playmakers to go with Bryce Young. They'll be all right next year. I mean, Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers won that division.
Well, they also beat us, JT. So,
and then they just, Green Bay beat us. Yeah, that they did. So that was the tackled MVS at the end of the game at the goal line on basically the game-winning play. But
piggyback. No call.
Belichick told Jerry Jones no, so the Cowboys just announced McCarthy is back. Is that for real?
I don't know. How many?
That can't be real.
How many teams is that guy going to be allowed to ruin? Mike McCarthy.
I don't know.
Oh, they're talking about Belichick. I was like,
the Cowboys that he's ruining.
No, Mike McCarthy. I mean, he had Aaron Rodgers. He went to 1 Super Bowl. I
mean, Pete Carroll only went to 1 Super Bowl too, and he's being held as a great coach.
All right, you taking off, JT? Have a good one, bud.
Hey, later, JT. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for stopping by, man.
Good to see you, bro. Be careful out there. Be safe. He does real work. So
SG wants to know: do we think the Eagles should fire head coach Nick Sirianni?
Yes. Yeah. Look, like it's just we get into these conversations a lot on this show. It's the players. I mean, what did Nick Sirianni do differently last year than he did this year? Jalen Hurts didn't look as good this year.
He mocked Chiefs fans in their own tunnel.
And they're I mean, the guy's immature and he's kind of a clown, but I mean, their defense kind of fell apart this year, and Jalen Hurts kind of came back down to earth, which I think if you watch this show regularly, someone said last year that he was playing a little bit above his head and going to that Super Bowl, and that he really needed to cash in there. So, what do you guys think? Fire him, keep him?
I mean, you've got a coach that took you to the Super Bowl last year, and you made the postseason this year. I know that the last 2 months of the season were awful, but I mean, I just don't see, like, if they fire him, somebody's going to hire him right away, right? I mean, he's like, you were in the Super Bowl last year. Now we're talking about firing your head coach. I don't know, man. That's wild to me.
Right.
Back up here.
Talking other NFL playoff games, I don't know. Any of those other games stand out to you guys? I watched that Rams-Lions game. That was a pretty good game. The refereeing at the end of that game, though, they called that holding penalty on the Rams to move them out of field goal range, and then they don't call the pass interference on Puka Nacua. They would have gave him a first down there at the end of the game. Oh, man, that shit was brutal. Brutal.
Houston got us. He said it was a joke.
What's that?
He said it was a joke, just like the Cowboys since 1995.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
I will say this about the Eagles real quick, jumping back just a little bit. Like I said it last week, and I still believe this to be completely true. I think Jalen Hurts is way more hurt than everybody knows.
It could be.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of his finger. I mean, that thing
right.
was backwards, and that's on his throwing hand, right? So that right there, right? Like he's playing through that. He's had a brace on his knee for like 6 weeks and everything. And so, I mean, I feel like when you're that banged up and you're just trying to hide it, we saw it with the Vikings, right? The Vikings were really good last year. Kirk Cousins was playing with like broken ribs and like a torn ACL or something, right? And you're just like, good Lord, man. Like, I really feel like they suffered a lot more injuries than they're leading to be.
They smashed in between two walls of 1,000 pounds of human beings 14 times a game. So,
right. I agree with Zed. The Rams, I think, should have won that game.
No, yeah, but what do we think of this Lions team? I mean, they came out this year. They beat us by 1 point. We were the first game of the season. It was a really good game. It wasn't like they beat us bad or we more or less lost that game. Yeah, we more or less lost that game than they beat us. But Lions being a team this year, like, do you think they're gonna have continued success this year, or do you think they're one and done?
Might be 2 and done, right? Since they already won.
Well, that's what I mean. They won and they're really done after.
They play.
They're not going to win another one.
Who do they play this week?
They will be playing.
Bucks,
They'll beat the Buccaneers. I think they beat the Buccaneers. Nick?
So you have them in the NFC Championship against the Niners?
Yeah, I think the Niners beat the Packers.
All right.
It's tough. So, I mean, the Lions will be at home. Not like that matters. Did you see the unfortunate reporter that didn't know that the Lions played in a dome? Man, that's
right.
Too bad that the internet lives forever, right? I don't know, man. I feel like the Lions aren't that good, but I mean the Bucks definitely aren't that good. So yeah, I'll go with the Lions. I think the Lions will probably win. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. It's crazy seeing Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff.
Right.
Right.
I mean, both guys kind of rejected by their teams, the number 1 overall picks. That's wild. That must have felt good too.
Imagine hearing that news at the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the season, somebody comes up and was like, "Hey, man, Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield are going to be the playoffs. Not only that, they're going to be in the divisional round." You just be like, "Huh? Ooh, what? Get out of here." I'm with you guys, though. I'm hats off to my buddy Matt Lamb, who's been a diehard Lions fan his whole life. Good buddy of mine. He's convinced that they're going to win. And I go a lot off of what he has to say on the Lions. And dude, they might even have a shot against the Niners. I mean, I think we're all in agreement that they're going to go play the Niners. I think that's an agreement we can all make.
Jared Goff's been to the Super Bowl before.
Yeah, sure.
Rams. So
How do we think they hold up against the Niners, though? I mean, just kind of like playing that whole thought experiment playing now. I mean, they have the offensive talent, but man, the Niners are
it's going to be the
a
offense
well
going
put
against
together
the
team.
defense. I mean, I'd probably go with the Niners. I really felt like the one team that was really going to give the Niners a hard time, it was going to be the Rams, and they just got knocked out.
I did too.
They're a division opponent. They're familiar, and they play each other a lot. So Matthew Stafford's a hell of a quarterback. Some of the passes that dude makes are unbelievable. That guy is so good.
Brenda wants to know if we're going live for Sunday's game.
I don't know. It's going to depend on what I'm doing. It's one of those things I've been talking to some people about, like getting together to watch the game, but it's the 5:30 game on Sunday, so it's not over till 8:30.
Right.
So people don't want to be getting home at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night on Sunday. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, we could stream part of the game maybe if we're not doing nothing. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But
I have some friends in town, but I know that they'd be willing to be on the stream, hang out.
So yeah, we might try to do that. So
well, watch on X. We'll
great
post it.
Great suggestion, Brenda. We might just do that.
Yeah, I don't have plans for the game yet. So, but I talked to a few people about maybe going and watching it. So we'll see. But
I saw round trip flights to Buffalo this weekend are anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400, depending on the airline.
Right, there you go. And you got to worry about like even being able to get there, right, with the weather.
Right, yeah, with the weather.
Flying into and flying out of Buffalo, trying to come home after that game. Yeah, it's unfortunate it's not a closer game. I would have road tripped it out there for a Chiefs game, like if they were playing. I mean, I don't know, some team that was closer than Buffalo.
Indy or something.
Yeah, if they were playing Indy or even like Houston or something. Houston's a pretty far drive from here still, but at least you're going south where it's warmer. You don't have to worry about the weather as much. But yeah. You guys want to jump out of here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, man.
Well, thanks for everybody who watched. Thanks for everybody coming by. It's good to see everybody in the chat and some new folks here. Zed, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. SG Sports Talk.
SG, we have some new folks in here. So
yeah, go find them.
The regular OGs, Brenda and Laney and Big Doug and Chris and John C. And
don't tempt me, John C. I might.
Bo's going to Vegas. That's gonna be an expensive fucking Super Bowl ticket right there.
Yeah.
There you go. SG's picking the Chiefs and the Tech. We'll take that. I'd be going to another AFC Championship game if that's the case. So we need to get that for Bo. It needs to happen. Football guys, please.
I'm here.
Please.
Let's do it. I moved here for this.
KC's Super Bowl rematch with the 49ers. Sign me up right now. I wonder if SG knows John V. Everybody in 49ers media knows John V. That's our buddy. So go check him out if you haven't. SG, he's the man. He's the king of Ohio Niners fans, as I like to call him. Funny,
don't talk to that guy.
I guess spends a lot of money.
Yeah, watch out for that guy. Funny, we didn't see Nico in the stream this week.
Funny. I wonder why. Sorry, Nico.
Fox struck midnight on Joe Flacco. It was fun while it lasted, but everybody knew that was coming. And it was a fun story, but down to the final four teams in each conference. When we come back next Wednesday, we will know the matchups in the AFC and NFC championship games. So we will have to see how that goes. It's the final four of the NFL will be set for next week.
Hey-o.
SG saying Brock Purdy Super Bowl MVP. I feel like if the 49ers make the Super Bowl with Christian McCaffrey, if they win the Super Bowl with Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel, probably going to break the old record of the winning quarterback just automatically winning the MVP trophy. But we'll see. Make sure if you haven't subbed already, you are, and make sure you haven't liked the video. We get lots of views.
Thank you guys.
But not as many likes. So before you jump out of here, before we get out and hit that for us, we'd appreciate that. Help spread the word. Chiefs play the Buffalo Bills round 3.
Let's go.
Patrick Mahomes v. Josh Allen in the postseason. From Buffalo, New York this time, Patrick Mahomes trying to go 1-0 in road playoff games. We'll be back next Wednesday. Like I said, make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe. Go follow us on our socials. And until next time, let's go Chiefs.
Let's go,
Go
Chiefs.
Chiefs!